Shouts out Big Steve.
Shout out Michael Bisbett. Dana White Contender Series, Episode 7. Right, we are over the halfway mark. We're going to try and make some money on this episode. Last week, we didn't make any money. In fact, we lost all the profit in one episode, right? I was up just over $1,000 and I lost $1,300 in that one episode, right? So let's go over it. It's good to keep accountable. I do consider this a relatively educational pod. It's definitely not an entertaining one. Otherwise, I'd have more subscribers. So let's get into it. A couple of years ago or a year ago, that would bother me quite a bit. But, we're seasoned veterans, 7 years in, ups and downs. They're predictable. And this year, I'm very comfortable with my flaws, which is impulsive betting. So let's get to it, right? So first fight, Cody Chawanchek, Uchegbu. I didn't do a pod for this episode. It was a long tape. There's about 90% of these fighters I had to tape for the first time. So, this first fight had a lot of decisions. I actually faded Rafael in PFL with Reyes. So it's kind of a familiar face. And yeah, I like the dog, but by the time I got to it, it was plus 120. But I was like, maybe the over is safer. And I just went with the start round 3, $1.44. Bad bet. Cody almost knocked him out in round 1. Knocked him out in round 3. Luckily, the start round 3 hits. But I was like, man, if I regret passing on this dog because he gets the knockout, and that almost happened, right? But luckily it didn't. So little peanuts, like just under $200 for the start round 3, just an action bet. And then this one right here, Paddy McCrory versus Insu Huang. Both these guys are crap. And I was like, people like the under here, but Paddy is so negative. Just circles, runs away. Huang can crack, but, as soon as he's taken a step up in competition, it's just decisions, and he's very patient. So both these guys are patient. And because of that, I was looking at McCrory KO or decision, pick him. And there was also KO or sub, slightly under pick him. And the under 1.5 was pick him. But I was like, do I go KO or decision? And, I rushed it. And I ended up going with ends round 1 and 2. Give me a little extra 2.5 minutes if McCrory gets it finished in round 2. And then I went with Paddy inside the distance. And we're just watching that. I was like, man, just having half a unit on KO decision would have been the bet. The line got steamed. Paddy got steamed. And he almost lost that fight. He lost round 3. I don't know how that was a 30-27. And it was just a slim margins kind of fight. So that right away, it's like, mistakes are being made, Cody almost cost me. Should have played the dog, and then that one almost cost me. Big Bird in here talking rubbish. 7 years in and still can't remember half the UFC rosters' names. I mean, it just depends. Depends on the day, mate. Depends on the day. I guarantee you I know every single fighter that's ever been in UFC. Unlike yourself, my friend. These little young casual kids that just started watching during Conor McGregor. Tommy Gant, Livingston. I like Gant when a lot of money came in on Livingston, but then the day that I woke up, day of the fights, there was a lot of buyback and it was close to minus 200. I like the over as well. Lucky I didn't play that because I would have been pissed if the money line hit and my over missed. So is what it is. We move on. I'm still about just under a unit down thanks to the Paddy McCrory. Evo versus Muhammad Ali. This one felt like a volatile fight. I was like, what do I play here? And I was like, I'm going to play Muhammad Ali round 1 and 2. He can be very patient. He sticks in the moves. He strikes on the outside. Give me the extra 2.5 minutes. This Evo never goes out around 1. He could be gassy. Maybe it's an attritional. And it was $1.70 for Muhammad Ali round 1 and 2, right? And then as they're talking about the fight, it's about to start, and I'm like, wait a minute. The under 1.5 rounds is only 10 cents difference. Why am I overthinking it? What if Evo gets him out of there? Because he's a bit of an ape. It's light heavyweight. And as soon as I think that, I lock it in. And just as I lock it in, the fight starts, and Evo gets him out of there. And thankfully, I just lost like $30. I hedged my Muhammad Ali 1-2 with the under 1.5 rounds. So I'm still like 400 something down, but I'm like, wow, that could have been a lot worse. And then we get to the main event. And it all hangs on the main event. Let me just adjust the lighting. All hangs on the main event. And I had $900 on Max and Lee, right? A unit and a half, right? At the worst possible price, $1.67. And why did I do that? Well, not too sure. I taped a couple of fights of each. I'm like, yeah, this Sosa guy is not really impressing me at all. Yeah, he's got a shiny record, but not the greatest level of opposition. And Max and Lee is, spinning back kicks. I still maintain that he has a lot more of a high ceiling than Hercher Sosa, who's 30 years of age and not really a finisher. So I'm like, let's lock in Max and Lee. It's a vibe bet. Some of the sharps in the Discord locked it in. I won't overthink it. And then I got reverse seal lead, and that's not a big steep kind of bet. Just lock it in on impulse. The other bet was Canelo. When I was doing a legendary podcast, boxing podcast with Dogfather and Breaking Bad, shout out to both those guys. And I felt like that all the action on that boxing podcast was going to crush. But I impulsively locked in Canelo. And I'm like, that's such a bad bet. Like, Crawford is the better boxer. And I'm locking in Canelo at minus 200, hoping for like a robbery or a draw, worst case. Relying on the size. So, yeah, bad bet. It got to Max and Lee. I was like, I can't even hedge because I've been massively reverse seal lead. And I'm like, whatever, it's in the hands of the gods now. Hopefully Max and Lee pulls something out, gets like a guillotine. But yeah, Hercher Sosa came in there. Again, a little bit underwhelming, but more experienced, more physical. Max and Lee, if he's not getting a finish, standing at 6'2", whatever it is couldn't really get it done. So yeah, lost 1,300 just on one episode. And as I said, would have bothered me, but yeah, we had a nice little comeback win on KSW and a little bit of boxing. So only 1 unit down on this on the card, but on the month, September. So we've got 1 week to get out. A lot of regionals. There's a contender series this week as well. So in terms of educational aspect, yeah, it's all mental. I only lose when I force bets, when I impulse bets, and when I rush him. And that's all. Usually that happens when there's something mentally wrong. Like I was a little bit burnt out. I forced the Canelo bet. That pissed me off. And then I forced another bet. So it's all right. The reset helped. And now we're starting again. All right. Starting again. Lucky Tim. Shout out Big Steve. Shout out Lucky Tim. Slips and Rips. What a nice name. I like that name. Lee cannot stop spinning. And I knew he was getting taken down. Round 1 KO saved my night from Jacobet. Yeah. This is a great bounce back week. This contender series, well, you can tell me why, because I don't know. We'll see. All right, let's just switch it over to this amazing card. All right, Rafael Tobias versus Jair de Oliveira. So this I assume this is the fight that Slips and Rips is talking about. This is the bounce back fight. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, this is a vibes fight. We've got Rafael Tobias. His nickname is Bipolar. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw it in a fight. And we've got Jair de Oliveira, a 5'9", ex-heavyweight, and they're fighting it. And Rafael Tobias is a massive favorite, $1.30. It makes sense. He's at least tall, I guess. He fought in LFA. He lost to Porto. That's a massive red flag. That guy's not that good. He basically got knocked out by him. It's not even on Topology there in his last 5. You have to go back. But he's basically comes forward. He likes to brawl. He's very slow. He's very young, 22. And, he'll mix in takedowns, but he just leaves a lot to be desired, honestly. Getting knocked out by Porto. Porto is awful. A Kevin Christian victim. And yeah, I mean, some of these guys, Wilson Paiva went to decision with him. It was a very underwhelming fight. Knocked out this Lopez with leg kicks. Yeah, there's just no tape on this Jair de Oliveira. He's obviously shorter. Some of these guys that he's beating, Daniel Butcher took this guy down, and then the guy just retired. He was in his guard, and something happened. The ref stopped it, and just retirement. And if you go through his career, it's all just like retirements, DQ losses. This guy, Ellison David, 7-7. Yeah, just. Yeah, awful fight. Honestly, it's a dog or pass based on, Rafael Tobias doesn't really warrant this price. What is he? $1.24. Wow, it's just getting worse and worse. The under 1.5 rounds, honestly, I'll just play the over. Right, Jair de Oliveira only killed cab drivers. There's a couple of fights actually that were ended in end of round 1. All right, look at this guy. Look at his physique, peak physique. So he's got a decision in his first fight years ago. He's got this fight that made it to round 5. This is like the Vidal versus that guy from Demo Fight Series. All right, I said the over 1.5 and big plus money. That has to be the play because they're all just finishing bums and cabbies. So the over, I'm considering the over. If it's somewhat competitive, Tobias has only been knocked out by Porto, who's a big hitter, and that almost went over. So over, and you just hope these guys are competitively matched and it just sails over, or you just poke the big underdog shot, right? I'm doing this early for once, so I would love to see the weigh-ins for this fight. For a lot of these fights, actually. It interests me. Yeah, dog or pass or overall pass. Absolute scenes fight. Let's move on. Slips and rips. All Mamute tape is on his Instagram. Well, I went on there, but it's rubbish. It's rubbish. It's just cab drivers, man. I actually think Jair wins. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked, man. This Tobias kid ain't it, but he does have a lot of age. He's got a lot of age upside. So I think the best thing for the UFC is not to sign him and just let him develop in LFA Brazil or something. Alrighty, Javier Reyes versus Justice Torres. It's a short notice fight. Javier Reyes is a favorite. I think he should be the favorite. He's a lot more well-rounded. He's been all over LFA. He's fought some high-level guys. He fought Douglas, who just got signed to the UFC with a brutal knockout. He also got knocked out by him too. It's no shame. He's fought Chris Mercante, who I think is one of the better regional guys outside of the UFC. And, Lawrence. Pretty much all these guys that he's fought in Combate and LFA are quite decent. Really nice 21-5 record. He's tall. He's aggressive. He gets a lot of finishes late. He just has a bit of a tall man defense, and he likes to use jiu-jitsu. But against Chris Mercante, who's a credentialed wrestler, just couldn't get much off. Lost the 29-28 competitive. Justice Torres, man, I'll tape this guy so many times, and I just don't really know what he's good at. He's an exister. I would call him a wrestle boxer. But he can be taken down. He lost to Cameron Graves in the Fury title fight. He's Cameron Graves, another tall, lanky guy, kind of similar to Javier Reyes. He was getting hit. He was getting taken down. He worked his way up. When he went for takedowns, he actually got him. So I don't know why he waited 3 rounds to go for his first takedown. Wilson Negrioni, a little Albanian dude, that's a decent enough win. I think he grappled him as well. And he's been grappled by these other guys, Matt Jones, Pena, Alamov. So he's just an exister who will wrestle box, who will pressure, and he beat his 2 bums, Shane Torres and Cody Freeman, which means nothing. He's on short notice here. Javier Torres had 2 back-to-back opponents pull out. So he should be the favorite. I just feel like he's going to go a bit more, he's just going to throw his hands more. He's going to engage in the grappling more. Javier Torres might take a little bit to get going. He doesn't really have the power of Mercante or Douglas or someone, even though he has bad striking defense, Reyes. So I feel like Reyes just has all the finishing upside and, just the snowball upside of actually getting a finish or getting a big scorecard. Dion, over 2.5 rounds, $1.60. It's not too bad, but the issue is both these guys have round 3 finishes. So it's like, will it end in round 3 at some point? I would like to see the weigh-ins again. I would like to see what kind of shape Javier Torres is in. But yeah, or Justice Torres, I should say. But yeah, favorite or pass, I guess. I like the over, but it's seems like a bit of a competitive yet clear shit show fight. Like a team, Graves or Instant. Yeah, I do remember kind of liking the dog there, but I didn't lock it in. That's one of the ones I should have listened to the gut instead of trying to tape it into oblivion. Alrighty. Another scenes fight. Sofia Montenegro, Jeisla Chaves. So taping this fight, it's a bit of a rough tape, 2 females. I don't think either of these girls is UFC level. And I'm pretty confident in saying that. Jair Torres, Barbir, she's 5-0, but she's 28. She seems kind of new to MMA. She's training. I don't know if she's training with Almeida. I saw Almeida training with her. She could be. She's from this Gomez fight series, which is like really, really low level Brazilian regional scene. And she finished it off with a Demo Fight Club fight against the 0-2. Took her 3 rounds to finish her. And I was like, wow, that's the only fight I can find. And I'm like, wow, that's a bit. I'm not sure I'm too impressed with her. Then I went to Sofia Montenegro, right? She's on short notice, 26. Apparently not that short notice. Let me have a look. September 23. Can't really tell how short notice, but yeah, she wasn't the original opponent. And I watched this first fight against 1-2 Anaya Perez. And she just gets dropped badly, gets up. I'm like, wow, this Perez must be some beast. And she gets dropped again. And I'm like, man, what the hell? What's up with this chin? And then she goes for takedowns. She toughs it out rounds 2 and 3. She uses grappling. She takes the back. The girl Perez gets up, but then she just takes her down again. So she showed some good heart. And then I go, let me wiki cap her. It's like, wow, 1-2. That's not good. That's not a good look. No good wins on the record, just like her opponent. Anila Perez is now 1-3. She's not really a KO machine or anything. I mean, she has 1 win, and it was by KO. And she's lost to this Jeisla Luna in 10 seconds. And I found that fight, and it's like, wow, put out cold. That's a concern. That chin is a concern. So I'm like, this fight's going to be pick'em. Sofia Montenegro does look better on tape. She throws. She looks more educated. She's younger, 26. She showed that she can grapple and she can strike. Whereas this Gisela Chaves, I don't really know what she's good at. Like, she has a grappling background. She's winning a lot of grappling competitions. On her Instagram, she's getting leveled up quickly. Seeing her get a purple belt after winning a comp on the podium. Apparently, she is a brown belt as well now, which just means they're just leveling her very, very quick. She seems to have striking as well. She's got a Muay Thai fight or 2. So, and her striking looked okay, but it was against the 0-2 cab driver, and she couldn't really get out of there. So, yeah, Montenegro is close to -200 favorite, and yeah, she's got a bad chin. She's on short notice, and she hasn't beat anyone good. And the underdog is 28. Looks worse on tape, but I don't know. I don't know anything else about her. It's just no adversity. So weird fight. It's a dog or pass, no brainer. I don't think Sofia is really going to cover this line. If anything, she seems like the most likely to get knocked out. So weird fight. Again, lack of tape on these Brazilians. I think the under 2.5 is plus money. I might just take that. But yeah, Chaves, I think both these girls really lack finishing instinct. Like this, Montenegro fought this Vargas 4-4 chick, and she just kept hurting her with the leg kicks, and she just couldn't get out of there. So, bit of a sad fight. Big Meaty Boy. Wow, that's a nice name there, my friend. Where are the orange glasses at? Mate, I was actually going to put the orange glasses on. I felt like it, but I was a bit late. I was already late, so by the time I went to the other room with the glasses, it wasn't worth it. But I appreciate you caring about the glasses. Alrighty. Brahyan Zurcher versus Murtazali Magomedov. This is an awesome fight. 9-9. Highest level fight, in my opinion, on the card. I don't think that's a hot take, considering what we have on offer this week. Yeah, Brahyan Zurcher, I love this guy. He was on PFL Contender Series, Challenger Series, the equivalent. And I loved him. I just kept betting him. He was an underdog multiple times, ended up looking favorite. And you can just see he improved fight to fight. Just they're giving him slightly better opponents. They're giving him, Mike Bradley, who's not the best, but he's knocking him out. He started adding some finishing upside. And, he's got a good jiu-jitsu. He's a good back taker, solid enough wrestler. And he's got good striking, good hands, good kicks. Just an all-rounder. He likes to scrap. And, Magomedov is a bit of the same. He's younger. He's 26. He's from that region. He's got that athleticism. He's got the wrestling. He's got jiu-jitsu. and he's had some issues. He's a bit scrappy. He's been taken down. He's been hurt in his last fight by Claudio Brito, and he's just come back and knocked him out. And yeah, he was getting wrestled by this Sato. Not going to pronounce that last name, and then he submitted him. So both these guys have gone through adversity. They're both scrappy. They both don't have the cleanest fights. So at first, after seeing Murtazali dropped in his last fight, I was like, yeah, Zurcher, I know this guy. Zurcher's just a better fighter at 29. He's going to finish him. And then, just go back to the career. And it's like, this Magomed guy is quite good. He's quite good, and I don't want to just hang the whole breakdown on him getting hurt, because he has come back and he's won. So especially now that Zurcher is minus money, it's like both these guys are good. Both are high level, so I had to kind of reconsider. I do think some money will come back on Magomed. I'm actually now considering Magomed, because these guys from this region, a lot of the young ones, they're one of my favorite players. They look a little bit green, but they have that athleticism, the finishing upside their wrestling, and then they just improve fight to fight. And when they become a little bit more technical, like the Makachevs and whatnot, they just put it all together. So it's a very competitive fight. I feel like right now, if I poke anything, I'm just kind of forcing it, right? Unless more money comes in on Zurcher, and then I poke a nice little Magomed dog shot, then I feel like that would be not a force and potentially a better bet. But I can see this being a war back and forth. The under potentially had my consideration. Let me just refresh. I got rid of the bloody lines. Let me have a look what the under is here. I think it's obviously, it's set at 1.5 rounds, which is a bit annoying. And plus money, plus 160. It probably just goes over. Both these guys are tough. I don't think either's going to get knocked out. I don't think either's going to get subbed, even though there might be moments. I think this is a competitive fight. I will see what the 2.5 rounds is, and then we might poke that. But really, really high-level fight. I don't feel like forcing anything right now. Wait for the weigh-ins. Breaking Bad, what's up, stud bucket? Stud as in handsome, not lesbian. I didn't even know stud means lesbian. I guess that's an American thing. If you poke anything, poke me. Well, you've come in here with very dogfighter kind of energy. Very, very bisexual energy. But I'll let you know about the whole poking. He's faced adversity and shown he doesn't wouldn't play Zurcher chalk. Yeah, that sort of thing. I agree with that. Like, it feels like the Tommy Gant last week. He got dropped by a middleweight as a lightweight, a middleweight striker, and people are like, oh, he got hurt by that one guy. Livingston's going to knock him out. It's just like, it's a bit of adversity, man. It doesn't mean it's going to happen here. So it just feels like this is going to be a war. Neither of these guys is extremely clean, so could be a good live bet. Slips and rips. I took Zurcher at plus 140. Wow, are you potentially my friend from Twitter, the MMA guy? Do you have $100 on that? Let me know. I think it should be minus 175. Yeah, I mean, it's going to outlast. It's hard to know because Magomed also seems to have very good rounds 2 and 3 and seems to be a laster. So, don't know. Zurcher went to a war with the GOAT, Scotty Stockman. Slips and rips. I'm not, but I do have $100 on Zurcher. You guys might have a similar betting archetype. Alrighty, let's move on. Dani Barbir versus Mantas K. We'll leave it at that. The main event. Should this be a main event? I don't know. It's much better than some of the recent main events we've had. I'm honestly surprised that the light heavyweight fight is not the main event. The way they've been aligning these Dana White Contender Series fights. So, a few people played Johnny Barbir in Dana White Contender Series. And, I taped it. And at chalk, I'm like, nah, I'm not doing this again. This could be another league fight. He's one of those bots, extremely, extremely athletic, just really good offensively, not the best defensively, and just relies on the power, the speed, and, just the robot athleticism and power, right? Just throw. His best win, just a lot of bums in FNC. They've been really slow rolling this guy, and I honestly thought he was younger than 28. I remember him from years ago, and 28. time's gone. Right, his best win is Andy Rtlajic. Right, he just ran through him, knocked him out, dropped him, and then Anaconda choked him. Andy's pretty good, but he's a comeback merchant. Everyone drops him. He's been dropped. Got dropped by Mikhail, got dropped by Kesic, got dropped by Camille, got dropped and knocked out by Rus. Right, so I guess it's good for Johnny to drop him and submit him. It shows he has a bit of a jiu-jitsu game, and he didn't really let Andy come back into the fight. But it's not someone that's not hard to drop. So other than that, just all bums. And he had this fight against this Polish dude at 6-4, and there's a lot of adversity there. Went back and forth, was on top of him. He kind of slowed down. But according to one of the lads from Croatia in the Discord, one of the guys that I name dropped in my Discord video, he says he wasn't really training that seriously in that fight, didn't take it seriously, and now he's more serious. Now he's got a proper camp, but it's all he say, she say, he say. Who knows? You don't want to take too much noise into consideration. Just go by on tape. So he's very offensively dangerous. But, there's a lot more adversity I would like to see. I want to see what he's made of. I would love some high-level opponents. So now money, I think others have thought that too, and now money is coming on Mantas. And Mantas, he was an underdog, now he's a favorite. And this is a striker versus not a favorite, pardon me. It's a pick and fight now. And Mantas is also a striker. He seems tall and long, but honestly, according to the stats, Jani is bigger. They're both 6'2". Jani is 191 in centimeters according to FNC, which makes him 6.26, so almost 6.3. So Jani's a bit like a brick shit house. So if that's accurate, we'll see in the weigh-ins tomorrow. Mantas might not have a massive size advantage, but he's also a striker. He's a bit more grindy. He's not blessed with the fast twitch fibers like Jani. He comes forward and he's got a lot of these fights where he's clinching up, pushing against the cage, using the elbows, dirty elbows and knees. When he fought Michael Chamu in Cage Warriors, he landed a beautiful 1-2 and killed him with the right hand. So he looked like a good kickboxer there. He fought this Virgil Ugen guy, the Aries FC defending champ. I don't know what's up with Ugen. Wasn't he? Surely he was meant to be on Contender Series at some point. Enrique. Yeah, he's the guy's 8-0 and at middleweight. And I'm pretty sure Aries had a deal with UFC, so you'd think we'd see him in the UFC or at least Contender Series. But yeah, anyway. So getting subbed by him is not the biggest issue. Ugen's a grappler. He did show some good submission defense in round 1. Eventually got broken down in round 2. So I don't know. I do feel like Jani might be the better grappler here just because he has subs on his record and he goes for him. But in terms of a line, I'd pick him now. I would rather play Jani now. I passed originally just because he was chalk. And it's like, what do I know about this kid? Not much. Just know that he's explosive and hittable and went through a little bit of adversity. But yeah, now it's like he might have, not might, but I do think he could potentially have the power advantage, the speed advantage. If he fights a bit patient, he kind of reminds me of Dulatov, all gas, no brakes. If he's a bit more patient, and if he can crack, Mantas, maybe he's the side. The under 1.5 rounds is -200. I don't know how I feel about that. Like Mantas has gone over a bunch. There's no grappling. It's going to be a striking fight. If they're patient, if they're both durable, right? Neither one has been finished under 1.5 too. So there's also not much tape on Mantas. So there's a bunch of issues with this fight. So that's where we're at. But I would rather play Jani now at close to pick him. So that's where we're at. Let's go through the comments and we'll finish it up. Big Bird, Zurcher's been in Dagestan this camp. Quite funny. Yeah, I mean, I think that could be behind the line movement, but I don't know about that. Like, what's it going to do? Icelandic Farts, fuck, I'm late. It's all right, Icelandic Farts, the newest member of the Big Brain MMA Discord. Welcome, my friend. Hopefully you're enjoying it so far. Breaking Bad, betting archetype is the most Aussie shit I've ever heard. Is it? Is it? Like the video, yes. Listen to Breaking Bad. Sharp man. Good stuff. Breaking your streak, Breaking Bad. We ended it. Shelter. Chamu's chinny though. Yes, he is. That's not the best win, but at least he got him out of there with a 1-2, These guys have terrible cardio. Who has terrible cardio? The guys in the main event? Barbir is definitely the side. Mantas' life and death with Jack Cambry was wild. But how long ago was that fight? Let's have a look. You have to keep in mind, like, he is a striker by trade. Getting into MMA. Jack, 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I mean, he knocked him out. Yeah, true. But he's handled better guys accordingly after that, so I don't even know. What's the age of Mantas? Don't know. You can't really hyper focus on these like fights that happened years ago, especially on Dana White Contender Series. There's a lot of volatility, there's a lot of improvement. Fighters rise to the occasion. Breaking Bad. I came into the stream late. What's your most confident pick, mate? Oh, here we go. I can tell that you're new around here. Breaking Bad. I don't have a bet, so if I had a bet, that would be my most confident pick. But honestly, gun to my head right now, I have to make one bet, otherwise I die, and he has to win. Javier Reyes. I think Javier Reyes, that's a no-brainer. I think it's a levels fight. Justice Torres just needs to. I'm not impressed by him. So even if it's a really slim margins kind of fight, I think Javier Torres wins it more often than not. I just think he's a better fighter. And he's more UFC ready than Justice Torres. So there you go, mate. Breaking Bad. Needed that streak broken like I needed air. Thank you. You and me both, my friend. You and me both. I needed to put a stopgap on the losses in September. Now, this last week, it's going to be epic. Slip the rip. Yeah, Mantas is 4 minutes of cardio. Barbir is 7 minutes of cardio. Well, that's a very accurate breakdown of their cardio, mate. Hopefully you can use that to sharply set the line and bet accordingly. Thank you, Breaking Bad. All right, so this is what we got. Let's go through it and get out of here. So, Tobias, Oliveira, just a stinker of a fight. Oliveira or pass, no-brainer, and over 1.5 rounds or pass, no-brainer. Just go with the plus money, or maybe some Tobias rounds 2 and 3 if you have that available, just in case Oliveira is a round 1 merchant. Well, not much footage out there. Javier Torres, I just gave him as the most confident bet. I mean, that's how I feel. There's a lot of footage in both these guys. I just do feel like Reyes is the better fighter. It's a bit chalky though. Montenegro, Chaves will pass. Montenegro looks better on tape, but insanely chinny. Maybe the over, maybe the under. Not really feel confident. Zurcher, Magomedov, I think this is the best fight. Zurcher, pardon me. Now with the money coming in on Zurcher, I would honestly just play Magomedov and assume some improvement from the younger guy. I didn't look at the under is pretty disgusting. And Johnny Barbir versus Mantas. Yeah, it's Johnny or pass for me now. Because the guy, he can match Mantas' size and he's a lot more explosive and athletic. And I do think he has the better grappling upside. So, Johnny or pass. That's what we're at. Gun to my head, Reyes, maybe Johnny. That's what I'll play. I'll look to live bet the rest. And yeah, bounce back week. I'm feeling it. We ain't going to force anything. All right. I've got a whole day tomorrow. I've got the weigh-ins to watch. Who knows where the lines will settle. And yeah, then the day after that, I've got a few hours before the card starts. So we'll see. The only thing that matters is a little bit of profit, and then a little bit of profit on the UFC, and a little bit of profit on the PFL. And that's a big week. And then that's from negative in September to positive, and that's another month profit. Only January and February in the negative so far. So experience vets, cool heads will prevail. Slips and rips, good luck. Thank you, mate. Thanks, Breaking Bad. All right, peace out, lads. I'm going to tape some Perth. I'm feeling a big Perth card, so I'll be a special guest on the show later this week. Keep an eye out. I will share that podcast. If that goes through, I won't be doing my own show because I'm not breaking down a Tafa fight twice. Breaking Bad. Then we profit on boxing next week. Why next week? Is there nothing this week? Don't be flaking on me, Breaking Bad. There's got to be some low-level French or Australian boxing card this week, surely. There has to be. All right. Jump on live with some time. Peace. All right. Peace out.